A lot of the children here, their mothers used alcohol or drugs during pregnancy. So the children need a specialized workup and evaluation.
How bad is it if you smoke pot while pregnant?
Anything that affects brain functioning is not good. Babies born exposed to marijuana have higher rates of low birth weight, higher rates of being premature, higher rates of difficulties with executive functioning.
So, a new study in JAMA Pediatrics has shown that when mothers were using cannabis during their pregnancy and the longer into the pregnancy, the more likely that children will have health issues such as ADD, behavioral issues, aggressiveness, irritability, etc., as they approach their teen years. Now, this is actually an extension of what's referred to as the ABCD study, which stands for the Adolescent Brain Cognitive Development Study, where they tracked approximately 12,000 patients from birth and looked at all different types of exposures that they may had, looking at their development, comparing across the board. Really quite a huge study that's been doing, and it's an ongoing study. Now, this particular finding was actually found a few years ago in some of the younger kids. And so now what they're doing is they're looking into a later age of these same children to see if these issues persist. And unfortunately, they do.
You know, this week we had one video. We were discussing the cannabis bakeries raids in Manhattan that's been going on, and we've said, you know, this is a situation that we need to re-examine as far as recreational versus medicinal, because basically the illegal trade will never go away. That's the one thing. And we're seeing already some of the illegal trade that's being created, as far as cannabis that's being created in the United States, is being funneled into Thailand. Last week we had a video on that. Dude, please check that out. It's a very interesting article piece out of Al Jazeera on that one. Because if you're a child of the 60s and you grew up and you knew after Vietnam how much drugs was funneling into the U.S. after the Vietnam War, and now to see that it's being funneled back into East Asia, it's hysterical in itself, but sad. It is sad. But we've had other videos where we've talked of health issues concerning the recreational cannabis on there. I mean, I myself, say that, there's needs more research. Right now, medicinal marijuana is the way to go, because from some research they said it does some good to certain people, like especially in oil form, as far as seizures and stuff like that, but only certain ones. And I think they said cancer. I think cancer was one of the other things that they talked about that. But the thing about it is, when recreational, you're seeing those under the age of 25, which that report was out. I said they should not be smoking it. Because your brain is developing until age 25, and it could do damage to the brain. It's where schizophrenia can come in, mental health issues. And we've been seeing a lot of mental health issues from a lot of youths lately. And, we've seen this. You've seen what's been, you've seen the videos on television on there. We should be seeing more emergency room videos, honestly. There should be more videos coming out of emergency rooms so you could show the youths that have been admitted to hospitals. And I'm not only talking smoking, I'm talking about even edibles, to that fact. But another new study has come out recently that targets the first trimester of pregnant women, and that they should completely avoid smoking marijuana. But before we start, don't forget to hit that like, share, hit that notification bell, and hopefully today's the day I've earned your subscription. So be sure to hit that button to subscribe on all of our social media platforms. We're well over 720 subscribers on YouTube alone. Thank you for those who have been there and subscribed to us and commented and shared our videos. I really do appreciate it. We hope you enjoyed your Memorial Day weekend. Yeah, we've taken a little time off to clear the mind and everything like that. And, you know, we discussed last week we had a member of our family pass away on there. If you've seen those videos, we discussed that. And thanks for the condolences out there to those who have mentioned it on our social media platforms on Facebook and Twitter as well. So from CNN Health, marijuana harms the development in first trimester of pregnancy, study finds. If you are pregnant and use any form of cannabis product, consider stopping. That's the takeaway from a new study that found a significant health impact of marijuana use on fetal development as early as the beginning of the pregnancy. That's why these findings are especially important. People can often found to be well into the first trimester and don't even know that they are pregnant, said lead author Beth Bailey, professor of psychological and director of population health and research at the College of Medicine at Central Michigan University in Mount Pleasant. Our study drills down to look very specifically at a specific time point in pregnancy, the first trimester. We found a significant decrease in birth weight of 154 grams in terms of pounds. It's about a third of a pound, she said. While 1/3 of a pound may not seem to be much, such slight decreases in weight have been linked to health problems as children grow, Bailey said. Low birth weight is one of the strongest predictors of a child's health and development long term, she said. These kids are more prone to development delays, higher rate of ADHD, learning disabilities, and have a higher rate of emotional problems. If marijuana exposure continued during the rest of the pregnancy, birth weight dropped another 31 grams, 0.07 pounds, the study found. In addition, the head circumference of a newborn was reduced if marijuana was continued throughout the pregnancy. Smaller head circumferences could be a sign of the brain did not develop properly during the pregnancy. Even when the pregnant people stopped using marijuana by the third trimester, the babies were born with a smaller head circumference of about 1 centimeter or 0.4 inch, Bailey said. What we are telling women is that it is not an absolute certainty that your baby's growth will be impacted if you're using marijuana. But we do know that you are at substantial higher risk for that outcome. While reducing levels of marijuana consumption during pregnancy is beneficial, may not be enough to protect the developing baby, Bailey said, because scientists do not have the research data to see whether there is a level of marijuana use that does not cause fetal harm. The safest recourse, my advice to women, is to avoid using marijuana at all during the pregnancy, and if stopped, use prior to becoming pregnant, Bailey said. And the thing about it is, you have to remember, you're smoking marijuana. Do you remember they had said smoking cigarettes was bad for the child and for the same issues?
Would you give a cigarette to your unborn child? You do. Every time you smoke while you're pregnant. Pregnant mothers, please, don't smoke.
Why hasn't that been pushed? Why has that not been that information been held back? I wonder why. The study published Tuesday in the Journal of Frontiers in Pediatrics used the data from medical records of 109 pregnant women who delivered at clinics at Central Michigan's College of Medicine. The data was compared with the data of 171 women who did not use marijuana and served as a control group. Pregnant women who used marijuana were slightly younger, more likely to be single and covered by Medicaid, and less likely to have an education beyond high school than those who did not use marijuana. While the study numbers were small, the research was a robust because of the use of marijuana was verified via urine tests, said Brianna Moore, an assistant professor epidemiology at the Colorado School of Public Health in Aurora. She was not involved in the study. Urinary THC testing is more objective than self-report, since pregnant women may not want to state that they're using cannabis, she said. According to the studies, self-reported cannabis use in pregnancy is around 7% more added. However, a 2019 study that tested umbilical cords for TCH found that cannabis use in pregnancy may be as high as 22.4%. Many pregnant women may use cannabis to treat pregnancy-related symptoms such as nausea and pain, or as a substitute for prescription medications like antidepressants, Moore said. Now, the thing about it is now that in places where legal cannabis is sold, you're seeing more and more people that end up in the hospital or the emergency room. They said when they're not feeling well, they said, "Yeah, I was just smoking cannabis, or I've just been on a run of smoking a lot, or I've eaten some edibles." However, one study suggests that very few pregnant women, 0.5%, use cannabis strictly for medical purposes. Moore said, "There's work need to be done to understand the contextual, social, or individual factors that influence cannabis use in pregnancy. That will help identify techniques and tools to limit cannabis use in pregnancy," she added, such as mindfulness techniques to cope with stress or triggers and over-the-counter medications for nausea and the like. Use of marijuana during pregnancy is on the rise, Bailey said. With the legalization, there seems to be the idea that it must be safe since it's legal, and so a lot of people continue to use it during pregnancy. Compounding the problem, the studies in the 90s did not look specific trimesters and found overall harm to fetuses from using marijuana, Bailey said. It is possible some of the older information may be currently distributed on social media. Birth weight was just the minimal impact back then, and the studies show subtle developmental effects on children's long term, Bailey said. However, we are seeing with the legalization is that people are probably using more heavily, and today we've got marijuana strains with stronger THC levels. And now that marijuana is commercially grown, we are seeing a very large effects on the fetus in the last 10 years of research. The impact can be even worse when negative health behaviors are combined. Prior to research has pretty well established that smoking cigarettes during pregnancy has had a bigger impact on birth weight than exposure to marijuana, Bailey said. But women combine smoking cigarettes and marijuana, we can see a bigger effect on birth weight than you would get from either of the two alone, she said. But that looks like that is changing because you're seeing more and more research out there that is coming out from different universities. One of the first things I will say straight out, ladies, if you want to have a family, you want to involve, there is one major thing you must do. Do not smoke. Do not drink. Very simple. And marijuana is smoking. I don't care what anyone tells you. You are putting smoke into your lungs, whether it's tobacco or whether it's marijuana. Marijuana is another type of tobacco. You're putting it into your lungs. Okay? You're feeding that into your lungs. I would not be surprised in the next 20 years from now that research will come out that some of the cancer out there was caused by smoking marijuana. I would not be surprised. And I know some people are going to say, it's nature from the ground. It's nature. Yes, so is cocaine, so is heroin, so is tobacco. By saying that it's from nature itself doesn't mean that it's healthy for you. Okay? There are mushrooms out there. There are berries out there. There are many other plants and stuff out there that basically would make you sick, or you could be poisoned and die from. That is the most lamest excuse to ever use to promote the use of marijuana. Now, I understand. Hey, I understand that, hemp, they can make clothes and shit like that. But the thing is, you have to put the perspective, like especially comparing alcohol use to cannabis use, is that two wrongs don't make a right to the situation. It's still a drug. It still manipulates your brain. I said, it eases me down. Yeah, so there's a lot of other pills that they have on there. It doesn't mean you can't OD on it. And the thing about it is, we haven't seen one yet, but maybe there has been. But there are people out there that have OD'd from a lot of stuff, including water. Water, the basis of life.
In January 2007, FM 107.9 enticed contestants to drink and retain huge amounts of water. 28-year-old Jennifer Strange was determined to win a Nintendo video game system for her family. She came in second. She became ill at the radio station, drove home, and died of water intoxication.
Yeah, there was a contest a couple of years ago that they would try to drink as much water as in there, and the person who won died a little time later. You can't, too much of a good thing can be bad. Understand that. I'm not saying marijuana is good for you, because the jury is still out on that. That's going to take another maybe 20 years, 30 years of more research just to find out what the true benefits and detriment that it can do to the human body. There's a new poll out there that said more people use weed than tobacco recently. That should be a frightening thought, that more and more people are moving to weed than tobacco. And these are the situations that we need to understand and stop the activism as far as that. You want to smoke weed in your house? That's your business. And let me tell you, for those of you, and if you haven't realized yet, here's one of the major things when it comes to it. It's the same thing with cigarettes. It's the same thing with, and I have to admit, same thing with cigarettes, and sometimes it's the same thing with alcohol. Too much of one thing, especially weed, you can walk around and not knowing that you smell of weed. I've had people that I've gotten aboard a bus or a train, and they just rank of weed. It's like they've bathed in it. And some of them are dressed regular like you and me. Others are not dressed well, but it's like they did not bathe at all, that they just literally bathed themselves in weed. That's the same thing with cigarettes. You have people who smoke cigarettes and they smell like awful, just burnt tobacco. That's not good if you happen to be working in an office, or if you happen to work, especially because there are some reports coming out now discussing what about construction workers, what about people who use forklifts and all that, because they are, if something happens, they are sent to be tested. I used to work for Home Depot, and if a forklift accident happens, they send you to get urine tested. And if you come back positive, you get suspended for a time period. They'll help you out. They'll send you somewhere, if you happen to be addicted to certain things. They'll send you on it. If you're alcohol or drug addicted, they will help you and get to a facility that will help you cure what you have on there and bring you back. And you have to sign off this, and you will never do it again. So let me know in the comments below your thoughts about this, because this is an issue. This is, we have been hearing these situations where children's have been very emotional, more emotional lately, learning disabilities and stuff like that. And considering that the rate of our education system is just completely in the toilet right now, this is something that we need to look at very carefully. Very carefully. We cannot push this aside. So don't forget to share this video with your friends, your neighbors, your enemies. We would appreciate that. It is an important subject matter to be discussing in your home at this moment, or at the water cooler. Don't forget to hit that like, because that helps us in the algorithm, pushes up these videos for us and the channel itself. Hit that notification bell, and hopefully today, it could be the day that I've earned your subscription here on Man with the Show, CuteCast TV. We really do appreciate it. Once again, thank you for clicking on this video, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye now.